Look at this sidewalk behind me of my backdrop as I walk. Farther away from it, it'll come into frame. Excuse this truck. He's got a diesel. The inferencing of what's usable and then correlated that with what can be utilized. These are two different factions. And so I'm going to be like, there's dancing and there's singing. Who's going to say these aren't human rights? A few weeks ago, this whole area I'm walking on was snowed over. And so I couldn't go and click that button one that I just did. And if this doesn't make sense, I'm fleshing it out. This game, is just one that I'm throwing up in the air because you're at liberty to. You're at liberty to. So it's every state can function as their own country, but we're not there yet because the tools aren't aligned with the area, the arena. You know something's wrong if someone in a country says they want the world to have blue eyes and blonde hair. One guy did. And so when there's someone in the world, they're like, I want everyone to have this specific pattern in them. And it's where, like, if you've got a kid in kindergarten or first grade, kindergarten, and you start saying he needs special ed, just save myself from a slip, and it's from like a kid in kindergarten, what is the criterion that you would think he's not getting in order for him to be called out already as a special learning problems needing to be addressed, and not the teacher that should be teaching better that same stanza? Because in my lifetime there are judges that held cases with no jury, and they just put in these financial people that were fabricating. And you know how dangerous that is? That's the difference of an enterprise and just regular life. And you know how dangerous that is? Saying that like you're on a sidewalk, but then the sidewalk is privatized. Ammo, when they have in movies, army, and they've got bullets on these like suspenders. I'm just gonna be frank. There's no reason to beat around the bush for the day and age, the era we're in. When there's public, you can walk on the sidewalk, and then if there's a thing called martial law, now it's prioritized that you can't go outside. If it's so called, it's not anything that is small. It's martial law means a lot. And and what's a lot, we don't know. In the era we're in, the United Nations were made to transfer the power, and so our government's written off as exempt through them until they decide. And so when I'm saying they, it's like, wow, that's a really strong word, and it's we're in the definition of a hate speech. What is a hate speech, and how is that prevalent in having a regular one to go out that's being immobilized because it's not healthy in a public that under martial law is private? And this is just day and age. And so when you're combining what I just said with tactics of like cosmic scale is a black hole. You can go through a black hole, and then if you're a person on the outside of the black hole, you'll see that your body is frozen on the event horizon. Event horizon's the edge of a black hole. Point of no return. And so your hologram ostensibly would be stuck there. And to say a hologram and an antiparticle are the same, I think it's like the annihilation of a particle. An antiparticle would be a hologram. Of which one, though? And perhaps that's where multiverse lays. But here's the important thing, is that even though we're not seeing antiparticles everywhere, they're there if you look really closely on small scales. Whereas because at our early universe, there was more chaos, and so this is because the whole entire universe and the whole entire anti-universe were not aligned perfectly. So it took all that time up until now for it to get evened out and smooth because they kept annihilating to each other until they explode. And so they exploding, with annihilation, that power, we don't know, like, what is this? Speed of light, that's really fast, so that's a lot of energy, right? So it's every state can function as their own country, but we're not there yet because the tools aren't aligned with the area, the arena. Something